This is my intro music. Welcome to the video. I hope you like it lots, so don't forget to subscribe and click the thumbs up button. Now let's react.
Okay, hey, hi, hello there, and welcome to another episode of Anthropologist Watches Abbey Sharp. Because Abby did a thing before I went on vacation, actually. She put a video out on July 11th titled How I've Changed Ozempic, Haze, Intuitive Eating, and More. And I have my cat. Hey, 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 hey. Hello. He's very excited to be here. All right. He jumped up when I started recording, but then he went to sleep. All right, anyway. I've been excited about this video, okay? Because I don't like Abbey Sharp. That's why. But that's why I'm excited about this video. Now that I've adjusted the camera. So, what I want to do is I want to look at this video doing the dark anthropology lens. I do have notes. So, let me pull them up. There we go. I do have notes to go over while Abby is talking, whilst Abby be talking. And yeah, Abby, I've already watched this video through once. I have watched Sam at Every Size's video, and I have watched Megan's video as well. So I've hit the big two on these, and I have my own thoughts, obviously. So I don't believe anything that comes out of Abby's mouth about this whole thing. I think Abby's rebranding. I think she senses a shift in the wind because haze and fat acceptance are losing favor because people are, well, for the most part, the major drivers in haze and FA are aging out of it, and they're realizing, because they're hitting their late 30s, early 40s, and they're like, oh shit, I'm unhealthy. And so they're starting to like get healthy because they don't want to die early. But Abby has to rebrand now because she doesn't have a audience of impressionable young women who are willing to believe anything she says about it's okay to stay fat, y'all. And so now she's trying to rebrand. If you can't tell, I'm very skeptical or cynical about this. So, wonder what my opinion is. I used to watch Abby a lot, actually. Way back in the day. Because I used to watch a lot of health influencers and stuff. I enjoy this kind of content. And Abby was just somebody that got recommended to me through the grapevine of YouTube. And I really liked her stuff for a long time. She seemed friendly. She seemed nice. And I wanted to like her. But the more I watched her and the more I listened to her, the more it became really obvious that she was not honest and she was kind of full of it. And the stuff she would say, particularly about the intuitive eating and the health at every size stuff, really rang alarm bells for me and was very red flag. And it just became very obvious to me very early on with her stuff that she was just not correct. And so I quit watching her. I'm going through my notes right now. But I do have notes. We've done this kind of format before. I've got timestamps and little notes. We are going to use the dark anthropology principles. We do have a couple 48 laws here. We don't have 48 laws for everything, just a couple few here. We do want to focus a lot on all right, but the entire video here is basically law 25 of the 48 laws, which is recreate yourself. Abby is trying here to make a reintroduction, and this is that law in action. She is trying to shed her old persona, and she's trying to reconstruct a new, softer, wiser archetype while maintaining the control that she has built over the many years that she has been on YouTube. Abby has a brand, and we will talk about that brand as we go through this video. And it's not just her vitamin brand. Abby has Abbey Sharp. Abbey Sharp is her brand. And Abby has spent a number of years building that brand. And I mean, Abby has 729K subscribers, probably more. YouTube likes to round. So Abby has a lot of subscribers. Abby has built those subscribers up over the years, not only just through her dietitian stuff, which is part of her brand, but also through pushing intuitive eating and haze and villainizing people who want to lose weight and telling skinny women who eat reasonably that they have restrictive diets and that they're that, and I'm probably going to get hit for that word. And she really likes to tell women who are dieting in any form that they have an ED and that they're doing it wrong and that they are jeopardizing their health. In the same time that she's telling women, like Amberlynn Reed, by the way, that their diets are fine, that they're eating okay, and it's not their fault that they're overweight, and she doesn't see anything wrong with the way that they're eating, and they're just fat because society is mean. I'm not shitting you. I've gone over Abby's videos about Amberlynn's diet. Okay? And that's par for Abby's course, right? Which is another reason why I don't like Abby. Abby doesn't like, or at least over the course of Abby's career on YouTube, Abby has gone out of her way to villainize healthy women and to make overweight, if not obese women look like they are the healthy ones. And that is how she has leaned into health at every size and fat acceptance. And then there's a whole section in this video of her talking about alternative science. Anyway, can't wait to get to that part. So, but now I think she's just noticing that the winds are changing and that to stay relevant and to just stay in the happy zone that she's in on YouTube as a dietitian on YouTube, that she kind of has to change her tune some because people don't want to hear the haze message as much anymore, and they don't want to hear the fat acceptance message as much anymore because those, like I said earlier, those people are starting to age out. They're not as young as they used to be. The health complications that come from being morbidly and super morbidly obese are starting to catch up with them. They're starting to realize that eating garbage and treating your body like garbage causes you to have those health problems that everybody kept warning you about. Crazy talk, I know. But yeah, so Abby now has to change her tune if she wants to maintain an audience and to maintain her presence on YouTube and her relevance on YouTube. So that's what I think is happening. I'm incredibly cynical. Anyway, so that's what that's how Law 25 is being applied here for Abby. All right, but I have her sped up. No, I don't. I'm going to speed her up. I may have to slow her back down, but let's speed her up for right now. This is only a 23-minute video, which means we might get through it in an hour. And let me sound check real fast and make sure that the audio is going to come through. All right. Theoretically, the sound levels look good. Theoretically. All right, we're going to let Abby get started here. I do have her sped up right now. Where are my notes? There they are. All right. Let's do this.
Yep, I've changed. So allow me to reintroduce myself. Hey everyone, I'm Abbey Sharp. Welcome back to Abby's Kitchen, outside my kitchen, because we're going to do a little real talk today. But
are we?
I have been a content creator for over a decade and a dietitian for even longer. And currently, as of 2025, I've posted a whopping 725 videos.
So I've posted 725 videos, thousands of pieces of content. This is Law 6, court attention at all costs. She is emphasizing her prolific presence and her longevity on the internet, and she's trying to establish her authority here. I've been a dietitian, or I've been on the internet for over a decade, and I've been a dietitian for even longer. She's establishing her credentials here. So this is part of her establishing her authority and her brand. There's nothing inherently wrong about this. I've done it in the past. It's important if your brand is built around your authority on a topic, her authority as a dietitian, that kind of a thing. But also keep in mind, this entire video is a pivot. So it's even more important right now for her to reestablish and to maintain the authority that she has built for herself over this decade that she has spent on the internet, because she's about to do, or what she thinks she's about to do, a very abrupt about face, which she really isn't about to do that. But she feels like she is, and so she needs to remind the people that follow her why they're following her, and all of the new people that she's trying to bring to her, she needs to wow them into following her. So that's what this is about. So remember, the 48 laws are about manipulation, right? They're Rubber Green's books are basically how to manipulate people for fun and profit, right? So when we talk about these various laws, they're laws of manipulation, how to recognize when you're being manipulated, and also how to manipulate others for your own profit.
And that is just on YouTube. I've also posted thousands of pieces of content across TikTok, Instagram, my blog, and now my podcast, Bite Back. And I have been interviewed or written for hundreds of media outlets. My loyal
Wow. Okay, anyway, sorry.
subbies who have been here since day one have really seen me grow from like a hopeful 27-year-old filming cooking hacks in her kitchen with bright red lipstick and cute aprons to a
What's wrong with bright red lipstick? Taylor Swift wears bright red lipstick.
mom of two and full-time entrepreneur. And for that, I am really, truly so grateful.
Look, other than this is just the bragging portion of the video. Abby's done a lot, okay? I don't have to like Abby to admit that she's done a lot, all right? She has. She's a successful businesswoman. I will give her that. I really, I'm just kind of being a dick because I hate when people brag. But anyway, here we are.
Thank you so much for your continued support. But
because literally this entire portion is just, yeah, okay, she's thanking us for her support. But also she's reminding us that she's successful, that she's prolific, that she's an authority, that she's a superwoman, that she's come so far. And that if we've been with her this entire time, you know, her super fans, her super subbies, or whatever she just got done calling us, you know, we know the real her, even though later on she's going to basically tell us that she's been faking it the whole time.
I also know I've got a ton of new faces here as well, which means it's time for a reintroduction. And not just a reintroduction, but really a reminder of what I stand for.
Even though this video is about how you've changed. All right, this fly.
Okay, before we dive in here, folks, let me talk to
It's an ad. Okay, we're done with the ad now.
content catalog, but hopefully not too early because it's kind of embarrassing. But you might have seen that I kind of tended to lean more heavily into the anti-diet message. You know, that all weight loss diets are bad and that dieting is basically disordered. And honestly,
no, I didn't notice that. Didn't pick up on that at all.
that's
As a dietitian, what bothered me about her doing that is the concept of a diet, or the concept of the term diet. This is coming as somebody coming out of anthropology. Diet does not necessarily mean okay, how to do this. When anthropologists say diet, what we mean is the foodstuffs that a certain group of people eat, right? So you say a Mediterranean style diet. You're talking about how the people who live in the Mediterranean area, the foodstuffs that they eat, not, the olive oils and the this and the that. Like today people say Mediterranean diet and they're talking about a specific eating format, right? And that eating format is what Abby's talking about when she says diet. As a dietitian, I would think that she would know the difference between an eating format as a diet and the overarching term diet, right? And it bothers me that she never makes that distinction, because I just feel like a dietitian should know that those are two different things. I mean, yeah, I know it's weird that the same word is being used for two very different things, but welcome to the English language. But also, it doesn't take that long to explain that one word has two different meanings, right? And when I say a healthy diet, I don't mean a healthy eating format, right? I mean picking healthy foodstuffs, right? I don't mean go eat the Mediterranean diet. I mean, don't eat garbage, right? It's just, I don't get why that was so fucking hard for her as a professional who chose studying food as a profession. That, I think, is the thing that always bothered me the most about her, is like, you chose this as a career path, but yet you never got your head out of like the 2000s, 90s diet culture. Like, you spent an entire career studying diet, not just food patterns. You studied like diet, and you never got your brain out of fad diets, 90s and 2000s fad diets. Like, you never got your brain out of that. I don't get it. How do you spend like your higher education and you never changed your brain? It's weird to me. But anyway, now I'm just ranting.
Likely because I was coming into my career having been freshly burned by orthorexia, very much aware of its sneaky traps and signs and red flags, and very passionate about protecting others from falling victim. And
Okay. All the more reason for why did you not learn to distinguish between fad dieting and like diet?
just because of the way that social media works, once you make like just a few videos with a specific
Oh, and here I do have notes, sorry. She says, I was coming out of my career freshly burned by orthorexia. This is empathy mining, specifically using strategic victimhood. She's using her suffering as a moral credential, and using it as cred for her position in the nutrition social sphere, right? This also falls under Law 21. Play a sucker to catch a sucker, aka seem dumber than your mark. And by that I mean, I know it's a weird one to be, I didn't name these. She says I was freshly burned by orthorexia, right? And she's positioning herself as a former victim, inviting viewers to feel aligned with her rather than feel threatened by her current authority, right? So she's using her past position and her past position as lacking in knowledge. You know, oh, we were all young once, you know, we were all misinformed once. We all had, you know, we were all young and dumb once. You know, she's using that, not her current status as an educated dietitian, right? So that's where that Law 21 is coming in to be played. So, but more importantly here, this whole like, I was coming out of being freshly burned. You know, I'm starting my career. I'm young. I'm fresh. I don't have experience. But I'm scarred and I'm still a victim of my orthorexia. It's like, okay, cool. But, you know, it's an excuse that she's trying to use to build empathy and to excuse her early hot takes on things that turned a lot of people off, but also drew a lot of people to her, right? But these early hot takes that she started her channel and her career on, are what she started her channel and her career on. They're what she started her brand with. So these are the things that have defined Abbey Sharp for a long time. So
MO or perspective, suddenly that is your brand. Like,
and now she's blaming YouTube's algorithm for why she's been stuck in this particular brand or this particular pattern that she's been in for this time. And I will say one thing here, and I will compare her to the Cynical Dude, because the Cynical Dude kind of accidentally fell into doing fat acceptance and haze related content. And I know that he created a second channel because he was trying on his Cynical Dude channel to kind of pull away from or drift away from fat acceptance and haze related content, because though he does seem to enjoy doing it, it didn't seem to be what he really wanted to do all the time, right? And it didn't work at first. So he created a second channel called Cynical Dude Reacts, where he does other content, which is also very funny. If you don't follow that channel, you should go check it out, because he's fucking hilarious. But her sitting here claiming, because this is the claim, I was young and inexperienced, and because I made a couple few videos, YouTube stuck me in this algorithm and I couldn't get out of it. We can look at the Cynical Dude's channel as an example where, yes, sort of kind of that did happen to him, but he was able to put enough sample videos out on his Cynical Dude's channel that he could demonstrate to his audience that he built on that channel, that he had other things he wanted to do. He then built his secondary channel, Cynical Dudes Reacts. He still maintains his primary channel, and he has built a secondary channel where he is able to do other things that he wanted to do. There are many, many, many other channels out there that didn't start a secondary channel off of their primary channels, who have pivoted easily, maintaining their audience for the most part, away from whatever it was they primarily started their channels on, as long as it's not too hard of a pivot, right? And if it is too hard of a pivot, they start secondary channels. Michelle McDaniels, for instance, has 2 or 3 different channels, depending on what the topic is that she wants to do, right? Because certain things that she does have nothing to do with her primary channel, right? And she has very healthy followings on those channels, right? There are lots of other huge channels that do the exact same thing. So Abby's sitting here making this claim that, like, oh, I just couldn't get away from the content I was making because YouTube threw me into the algorithm and I couldn't make a pivot from it. Bullshit. You didn't want to. So no, I'm not swallowing this pill. You liked it. You found your niche. It's okay to admit that. It's fine. It's fine. Just admit it. Don't blow smoke up my ass, Abby. Okay? Just don't do it. All right? Ranting.
Like, you were forced to niche down into a box, and therefore any nuance gets very quickly snuffed out.
No.
Thankfully, I am no longer new to the rodeo. At 37, I have had almost 20
You are so fucking young. It kills me that I'm older than most of these people.
years
Not in like a bad way. I'm just like, I forget that I'm older than most of these people.
of separation from my ED days, and I have opened myself up to a wide range of perspectives from every corner of the scientific community.
Really? Okay. She says, I have opened myself up to a wide range of perspectives from every aspect of the scientific community. This is a self-mythologizing feedback loop. She's trying to put her past bias, or she's trying to reframe her past biases as a youthful zeal that she has now tempered with her modern wisdom. Personally, I call bullshit. She says, I have softened my message. This is Law 45. She's preaching her need for change, but she's not reforming too much. She's not disowning her old views, but she's integrating new messages into her current narrative. She's trying to make it appear as if she's gone through a gradual evolution over the decade that she's been on the internet. Right? She's 37 now, you guys. She is a sage upon the mountain. She is so wise. I'll stop. I'm sorry. But the point is, what she's doing here is she's like, I'm changed. Look, I will say 10 years is a long time, and a lot can happen in 10 years. All right. Science changes very fast, or it can. Sometimes not so much. Sometimes it does. The science of diet and nutrition, that shit changes fast. All right. We know things from 10 years ago that have changed many, many times over, right? Nothing is ever set in stone when it comes to science. If you hear a scientist telling you 100% that something's 100%, they don't know what they're talking about. All right. If you hear somebody in science saying, I'm almost sure about something, that's probably as good as you're ever going to get, right? I can't think of a good scientist who will say, I am 100% sure. I mean, even people have a hard time saying they believe in gravity. Like, I'm 100% sure gravity exists. I mean, I'm pretty sure gravity exists. I'm willing to believe gravity exists. But you never know. It's that kind of shit. But anyway, the point is, 10 years is a long time. She was 27. If she's been here for a decade, she's 37 now. She was 27 when she started this channel. 27's young. A lot of shit can happen in 10 years. So I'm all here for, I've changed, I've grown, I have wisdom. Yes, I'm all here for that. I really am. But like, seriously, but her and this whole like, I've opened myself to all the fields of science. That's why you demonized Ozempic when it came out? Really? You've opened yourself to all the fields of science? Really? Anyway. I think we still have to keep going. My next note's not for a little bit.
I have worked really hard at listening and understanding the root of a particular approach or recommendation before just shutting it down as BS, simply because it doesn't align with my experience or my previous bias. But that shift can be kind of hard for viewers and fans when we have all learned to see content creators not as people, but as brands with just one predictable beat.
So it's not your fault, it's your viewers' faults. Okay. So we're shifting the blame. It's not Abby's fault, you guys. It's your fault. Because you expect her to be an unchanging monolith in a sea of social media. How dare. And God forbid she have personal integrity to stand up to you and say, you guys, the science says that perhaps this thing that I have possibly believed in for the last however many years might not be true anymore. She couldn't possibly have come up to her audience and said, hey, there's some new science that says maybe this isn't true and I'm a scientist, so I gotta go where the science leads. She couldn't possibly have done that because her audience wouldn't have liked that.
And that means that a lot of my old content doesn't always align completely with what I say now. Ultimately,
when she said that, and I was watching Sam at Every Size, Sam had some things to say about that, about how because Sam and I had the same reaction to that. But I had a thought, there's a possibility that some of my older content might not be factually correct anymore. And I don't go back and look at my old shit, to be perfectly honest with you. But I was thinking recently with Rosie, Quirky Love Rose, I had made some content about 2 years ago, a year to 2 years ago, where I was actually in support of Rosie. And when Rosie pulled her shit, she pulled some shit. And I went back and I removed the videos that I had up where I was in support of Rosie, because I didn't want those videos up. I didn't delete them. They're just removed. So they're still on the channel. They just are not up for view anymore. And I did that because somebody asked me why I did that. And I did that because I don't agree with those videos anymore. And I don't want them on the channel because I don't want somebody coming across them and thinking, what if that's the only video on Rosie that you ever watch on my channel, right? And I don't want somebody watching that and thinking that's my view on Rosie. I know the chances of that are pretty slim, but it's still a chance, right? But I'm not entirely sure, going with Abby, let's pretend like she's being sincere. Abby has a lot of videos, right? And she has a lot of misinformation on her channel. How do you, as a creator, handle that? right? Let's pretend like at the time that Abby put a video out, the science at the time was accurate. And the video that she put out was accurate. But now the science is not accurate. And if nothing, and it's like completely opposite, to the point where that video from the past might actually even be harmful. What do? Do you go back and pull the video completely? Because that would be my knee-jerk reaction. Or do you go back, put a note in the description? Nobody fucking reads descriptions, not really. So it's really, I mean, yeah, it's a CYA, but you as a creator know no one's reading those fucking descriptions. So you're really only CYAing. That video is still there. People are still going to watch it. They're still going to take that misinformation away. So what do? Do you remove it completely so no one can see it? Do you re-edit it in a way so that there's now like a little tag or something at the beginning of the video so that the video can stay up? I mean, how do you handle that situation as a creator? Because it's going to happen to all of us. We're all going to eventually have a video or 2 or 5 or 10 that aren't going to align with our channels anymore for whatever reason. Do we remove them? Do we leave them up? If we take them down, it's going to make somebody mad. If we leave them up, it's going to make somebody mad. You know, it's one of these situations. Like, how do we as creators navigate this situation? Mine was, I just took it down because I don't agree with it anymore. I don't want it on my channel anymore, right? Abby chose to leave hers up. That's her decision as a creator. And Sam, I think, was somewhere in the middle with her decision. And she was like, I would at least go back and put some kind of a disclaimer somewhere on the video in the description or somewhere letting people know that things have changed. And I don't think that's necessarily like a bad decision. I personally know not everybody reads descriptions, right? So yeah, you've put something in the description, but like people don't necessarily read descriptions. So there's that. So I don't know. You guys let me know in the description, comments down below. How would you handle it? Or how would you like to see a creator handle something like that? Anyway, that was a really long rant.
Though, I'm way more committed to being a good science communicator than a predictable content creator. And to do that, I've really had to soften my messaging to allow for much needed nuance and consideration. So today I really...
To be a good communicator, I had to soften my message. This is narrative control. She is reframing contradiction and pivoting it as intellectual maturity. So she's reframing the contradictions that she knows she has on her channel, and any contradiction that you may notice on her channel is actually intellectual maturity. You're just missing the nuance.
Really want to set the record straight and spill the tea on what I really think on topics like weight loss, Ozempic, health at every size, supplements, and so much more. Consider this my professional reintroduction. So grab a snack or a coffee, get comfy, and allow me to reintroduce myself.
All right, this grab a snack and coffee and let me reintroduce myself. This mimics an intimate and friendly conversation and not a public broadcast, right? This isn't her basically doing some form of damage control, but this is parasocial engagement. This is parasocial intimacy. This is her drawing her audience in and trying to create that parasocial feedback between a creator and their audience, right? So she is intentionally creating a parasocial relationship between herself and her audience, which is fine. It's what's necessary. But again, manipulation tactic. This is also Law 6, court attention at all cost. She's reframing this as a newsworthy event. I'm going to spill the tea. And I'm reintroducing myself. So this is a pivotal moment in the history of her channel, right? This isn't just another video. This is a very important video for a very important person on her channel. So that's what's happening here. And there's a cat here.
Allow me to reintroduce myself.
I don't. Okay, well, that was quick.
Let's start off hot with weight loss drugs.
Yes, let's.
Honestly, if Ozempic came onto the scene like 10 years ago, I probably would have fully written it off. Like I could already see like 2012 Abbey zeroing in on all those health risks without really weighing those against its efficacy. But what I understand today is just how important it is to approach these topics from a macro view with greater curiosity and empathy. Now, with weight loss drugs specifically, I have learned that despite the risks and side effects, these drugs have been revolutionary in reshaping people's lives. You know, weight gain and weight loss are incredibly complex processes shaped by so much more than just food or willpower. So, for example, genes or genetics can actually impact dopamine reward pathways and how intensely we react to food, which, when combined with a hyper-palatable food environment plus socioeconomic factors, it can make sustainable weight loss feel virtually impossible. So GLP-1s work.
Remember, she is an intuitive eating advocate.
Not just by stabilizing blood sugars, which does have an effect on weight management, but also by quieting the food noise that makes weight loss or even weight maintenance so damn hard. So from my perspective, I do see how drugs like these can actually give folks the mental space to fill with other acts of self-care and health promoting activities because they are no longer hardwired to just think about food.
She's using a form of disruptive reasoning here. She is trying to flood the discourse with complex and confusing jargon. She's using scientific jargon to establish not only her own expertise, but also she's trying to flood the conversation with words that may be confusing to people who are not already familiar with the conversation. Some of us will be, some of us will not be. And that is not a critique on anybody trying to watch this video. All right. But it does make it hard to follow the conversation, and it can make it difficult to critically think through the conversation, right? That's what she's counting on. It makes her appear like she is more informed on the topic than she may or may not be. I don't know. But it also makes it harder for people to follow the conversation, which is where that disruptive reasoning occurs, because it overwhelms the lay audience. It makes her appear authoritative, but it also makes it harder to follow the nuances within the conversation. This is a form of law for always say less than necessary, because she is deliberately breaking the law by saying more than is necessary. By using highly technical terms, she's trying to overwhelm and critique through complexity. Going back to the disruptive reasoning, she is trying to disrupt the conversation and to mask her original take on this by seeming to be well-informed on the topic. She may very well be well-informed on the topic. She may have educated herself since Ozempic and the GLP-1s have hit the market. She very well may have decided to go out and learn more about it, because I have been an advocate for these drugs since they hit the market and had started becoming popular, because I saw the benefits in them. Do they have gnarly side effects? Yes. Have I always said you should be using them in tangent with a doctor? Yes, because they do have really bad side effects. Or they can have really bad side effects. The majority of people are not going to experience them, other than like the stomach upset and a really bad diarrhea and that kind of crap. But again, do it with your doctor. But also, a lot of these drugs aren't covered by insurance, so not everyone has access to these things. Kind of a deal, right? Right? And now all of a sudden she's like, oh, but they do all kinds of nice things for like food noise and stuff. Yeah, Abby, that's one of the reasons people were really for them. They seem to have some kind of control over impulse control. They do more than just stop the food noise. They stop a lot of impulses. They stop a lot of weird shit that we weren't expecting them to stop. They do a lot more than just stop people from overeating. They have effects on things outside of weight loss. They're being used for things that don't have anything to do with weight. That's how interesting these drugs are turning out to be. Like, these GLP-1s seem to have impacts on things outside of metabolic issues, which is really cool, but also requires them to be used under a doctor's supervision because they have effects on things outside of the metabolic. But I don't feel like Abby's really aware of that, because all Abby saw was, oh, skinny white bitches are using Ozempic, ergo they must be the devil. But here we go. All right, so that was that note. I think we have to jump ahead a little bit further. Excuse me, sorry.
That has got to be so freeing. Now, obviously,
Yes, not having food noise when you are a food addict is very freeing, from what I hear. I don't have food noise.
with all that said, just because I see value in GLP-1s for a certain demographic doesn't mean
A certain demographic.
I think that they are for everyone to be using. There are very brutal side effects and risks. They absolutely can be misused. And when weight loss can be commodified, it does further stigmatize those who don't hop on board. And we
Only you would say that. I would not stigmatize anyone who chooses not to use weight loss drugs. I would not stigmatize anyone who chooses not to use weight loss surgery. They're scary. Okay? They have side effects, both weight loss surgery and weight loss drugs. I don't like needles. That's why I don't use them. It's a stupid reason, but I don't like needles to the point where I will not use those drugs. All right? Period. Amber likes to pretend like she's scared of needles. I will not use them. Okay? You're the only one who's like, if you're fat and you're not using weight loss drugs, there's something wrong with you. No. There's a handful of people in the world who are like that, but those people are assholes anyway. No one cares what they think. Okay? No one's rounding up fat people and putting them in camps and forcibly injecting them with GLP-1s, Abby. It's never happened. It's never gonna happen, okay? Jesus Christ, you people in haze and fat acceptance and your weird fucking dystopian world that you think you live in. Stop.
We saw many of these things firsthand in my Ozempic Diary series, where I followed a real-life experience with Ozempic. And I 100% think it's important to talk about these issues that may or may not be mentioned amongst all of the drug's benefits. But
As I said.
being vehemently against Ozempic or seeing it as like an easy way out, as wellness culture seems to suggest, does
Abby, you're the only one who sees it as an easy way out. I think anybody who's been on Ozempic or any other GLP-1 or anybody that's ever had weight loss surgery and gone through the process of getting weight loss surgery, I don't think anybody has ever said that's the easy way out. People who haven't done it maybe see it that way because they've not gone through the process of qualifying for these things or going through the process of using those drugs. I would never say those are the easy way out. But people who don't use them seem to think it is, Abby.
does far more harm than good. It's stigmatizing, ableist, and exclusionary, especially
Do you look in a mirror when you say those words? Just wondering. Asking for a friend.
for folks who are already struggling to access care. So if you are able to improve your health, quality of life, and happiness with Ozempic, then amazing. We should all be happy for you. Next up,
All right, so I've decided to cut the video into two. So this is the very abrupt end to the first part. And again, I don't know exactly where I'm going to be cutting the video, so I don't know exactly where this end is going to be. But if you've made it this far in the video, go ahead and leave a thundercloud down in the comment section down below, because there's a thunderstorm happening right outside my window right now. And just let me know what you guys think so far. I know Abby kind of sets me off here and there, but trying not to be too bad. I think I'm failing miserably at it. But do let me know what you guys are thinking so far about the video down below. I just refuse to have a 2-hour long video, guys. I'm sorry. It's too much. I wouldn't watch it. I know some of you will, but it's too much. It's just too much. I'd rather have a 2-parter than have a 2-hour. If you guys want to sit and watch a 2 hours, knock yourself out. But anyway, so yeah, just put a thundercloud down in the comment section down below. I will have some links in the description to the second part and to some other videos. I believe I said I was going to do Sam at Every Size, just because I liked the video that she had, and there was another reason I forget. But yeah,
I can't honestly think where I'm going to end up cutting this video, so I don't know exactly what to ask you guys about. So thank you to everybody who's been supporting the channel. Thank you to my subscribers. Thank you to my members. You guys rock. Thank you to everybody who's going to hit the thumbs up button. I do have 3 levels of membership. This video should be going out to members first. So if you want to watch this before, if you want to watch videos before everybody else, go check that out. And something else I was going to say, and I completely forgot. Obviously it was important, but that's all I've got for you guys. So I will see everybody in the second half of this, and that's all I've got for you guys. So bye.
This is my outro music. You can't copyright strike me because it's just me singing. This is my outro music. Thank you for watching. See you next time.